Hey guys, thanks for watching. We're at a property here. We're going to show you some cool lighting techniques that we've done. You can watch our how-to videos on YouTube to see exactly how to install your own lighting system, but I want to take some time here because we got a really cool project and show you a couple different lights and how we use them on this property. So I'm going to walk you through that. So if you see behind me here, there's a whole bunch of these tall poplar trees that are lining the driveway. I'll show you some video at night, exactly what that's going to look like. If you look behind me here too, we got a beautiful house with lots of stonework. I'm going to show you how we lit this house up and some of the things that we focused on. And then, lastly, if you kind of look further down the driveway, you see there's some more landscaping and stuff as well as behind the house. So I'm going to show you some examples of how we went and lit that and talk about the different lights that we use that pretty much come standard in all our do-it-yourself kits, but there's three basic ones that I love to use that we're going to show you here in this video. First thing I want to show you is the front of the house here and the entryway. This is probably in most landscape lighting projects, this is one of the areas that gets missed most often, but it looks so good when it's lit properly. So if you see, we've got these tall tower aspen trees on both sides that we are going to lit up, which pretty standard. You'll find in most landscape lighting systems that they'll focus on those, but an area that often gets missed is you see these two stone pillars on each side of the doorway. I love to use these lights. It's a hardscape light, but it's great because you can really hide that light. So it's just a little cap light that fits right underneath here. You can barely even tell it's there, which that's the key with landscape lighting is you don't want to see the fixture, you want to see what it produces. So we're going to show you pictures of what that looks like at night, but I'd recommend if you have any nice stonework on the front of your house or the side of your house, you definitely take some time to light that with your light. Going down the side of the house here, we also focused on more of this stonework because I think it's so pretty. They spent a lot of money on it, so why not highlight it? Again, we don't need to go crazy with lights. We didn't light every one of these pillars, but if you can see, pretty much every second one we used our staple, our standard uplight, and we've just put that down at the base, and we're gonna light these pillars here pretty much right to the top with the light that we've used. And again, we didn't do every pillar, but basically 3 in the front here, and as the house wraps around the side, there's 2 more of those pillars that you see on the drive up that we've also highlighted. So again, we're focusing not just on the landscape, but also on some of the unique features of the house. As we go down the driveway here, I want to show you something that we did a little bit differently. Again, you see a nice long driveway like this, what I see a lot of times is a bunch of path lights that are just kind of lining the driveway, but they're not going to last too long because they end up getting run over. In the winter they get snow piled on them and they get knocked over. They don't last, and I just see it over and over again. So what we focused on is lighting the trees instead of the driveway, because last I heard, all cars come standard with headlights, so why do you need to light your driveway anyway, right? So instead we're going to focus on the entryway, which is these trees. One of the ideas we were toying around is actually having some in-ground lights so that are flush to the ground so that you can mow over them. The only problem with that is they're a little bit more maintenance. So instead what we've done is we've taken, again, our standard uplight and we've actually just mounted it in the trees, right? So now it's gonna still give us the same effect as if we had it in the ground, but we're reducing the maintenance that this homeowner is gonna have to deal with. And now we've put about 7 or 8 of these lights all the way down to basically the carriage house or the guest house down here, because it is a very dark property. So just giving a little bit of extra light so that they can feel comfortable and safe as they make the long trek down to the guest house. So obviously not every home is going to have this, but in this case, we've got a beautiful gate, beautiful entryway that we're going to light. Fortunately, the nice pillars on the side of each gate already have lights in them, which is great because that's probably one of the areas that I would have featured. But the other thing we're going to do, again, because we're out in the country, it's nice and dark out here, these beautiful tall poplars that are in the back, or sorry, aspens that are in the back, we're going to highlight those with some really high beam lights so we can really light it up. So we've got 2 on the left side and 1 on the right, so we'll show you what that looks like at night as well. As we head into the property here, this is what you'll see a little bit more common and a lot more use for these up and accent lights. As you see on the right hand side here, we've got a bunch of trees in a mulched area, landscaped area. We want to highlight some of those, as well as on the left side you see again there's there's another area. So this is typically where most people will use their landscape lights. Really, we've done the same that you'll usually see. The one difference is we've just tried to maximize the amount of light that each of these is going to produce. So on all of these, we've either used some kind of a spread light, so that you can see here in this shot we've got 3 spruce trees. So instead of just highlighting one of them, we've put a special lens on there that's actually going to broaden that beam so that we can highlight more than one, but just use one light. So again, really good cost saving tool. I always try and maximize the output whenever possible on a light, so I don't need to spend a lot of money on a bunch of fixtures, but just placing them a little differently, using some little things like that, we can make a huge difference. And on this one here, you know, one of the things we just focused on is we didn't highlight every single tree. We just highlighted a couple based on the drive-in from the driveway, what's going to look good. And then you get some beautiful rocks in here too, so why not try and accent some of those? Again, just using our standard accent uplight, but we're going to get some of that rock as well as this beautiful bush in the background, which is going to look really cool. So in the last little bit of this property we're going to focus on is the back. The first area I'll show you is there's a nice pathway that leads to a fire pit area. What you typically find is a bunch of path lights lining this, but what I like to do in a situation like this is actually light it from above. So we've got some beautiful tall trees that I would actually put some of our uplights in, but actually put them downward. So like I showed you how we put them up in the trees earlier on the driveway, I would do the same thing, except I would put them up high and have them shining down, and I would create a moonlight effect and really light this whole pathway area here. So another way to light more with less. And then along this pathway, again, instead of using a bunch of path lights, I'd probably use some of these bushes here with some hanging lights. But in this case we didn't. We just kind of kept it simple. And one thing we did is we took again this beautiful stonework and just used our uplights, and we're going to get some reflection off of these nice tall columns that is going to light our pathway and give us a little light going through here. And then this is really the first area on the property where we've actually used some path lighting. So I'll show you as we go down the pathway here. We've got 2 of our FX path lights here, which I love because they're very durable, 18 inches high, and they produce, you know, quite a bit of light, a good 15 foot spread for this pathway. And then the other area we use them is just heading up the stairs here. Again, we've just staggered them nicely. We haven't used a whole ton because we don't need to go crazy, but if you can see, we've got 3 path lights, one in the left here, one on the right, and then another one up here in the shadows that will light these stairs. And then the last area is really this whole back landscape garden that we do have a couple path lights in. We've only used 5 in this whole area. The other thing we've done is just using this beautiful stonework on this house. We've actually taken a couple of our wash lights. We've got them nice and hidden. Again, you're not going to see the fixture, but you're going to get the effect and the reflection off of here, and that's going to light up most of this back garden area. So I always try and focus on doing more with less lights. Will keep your costs down, and in my opinion it looks better anyway. Hey, so I really hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it gave you some good ideas, some different things you guys can do with the same lights. If you watched carefully, you notice we really only used 3 types of light. We used our RS uplight that you'll find in our do-it-yourself kit. We've used our FX path light, but we've only used a couple of those, and then we've that you'll find again in our do-it-yourself kits. And then another light that we've only used 2 of them, but I like them. You can hide them if you're doing a deck or fencing. I think it's probably the best light. It's another it's a hardscape light from FX Luminaire that you can easily hide under you know, different areas, and creates a really nice effect. So hope you enjoyed this. Please send me your comments, your questions, your feedback, and more of what you guys would like to see in these videos. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.